What is up? It's Dakota Layden here from Destination Fear, and you are listening to the Paranormally Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, fellow zoners and paranormal ponderers. You are in the Paranormally Zone, your weekly dose of all things, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the man who is afraid of what I may call him during each and every episode interview, Mike Carbno. You did say that earlier, that I made you nervous.
No, I was kidding.
I hope you are kidding.
I was very much kidding.
Yeah, I'm not exactly this intimidating, stern, gruff prick.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah.
At least I hope not.
That was all during a failed attempt at this episode.
Oh, what do you mean? Something happened? Something was went amiss?
A miss, yes. That's the word I was going to use, actually.
Something was a foul?
Yeah, but it seems fine now.
Well, now you just cursed it. Hopefully we can get through this episode. Yeah, we just recorded a half an hour intro. Very important.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome. A very important intro to this episode. As we go along, you will find out why it is important. So now we have to kind of, time is a little bit more limited. So we're not going to be able to divulge too much stuff as we did the first take at that, but hell, maybe we will. Maybe we'll ramble even more. Who knows when it comes to the paranormal.
We shall find out.
But Mike, it is good to see you. Thanks for making this work, pal. It is pal.
Everybody.
Why did I just call you pal?
Yeah, well.
That was interesting.
I will start to call you my fine freaky friend.
Oh, that works too. That kind of, every now and then I get the image of like the old Looney Tune cartoons where I'm like the little annoying scrappy dog that's just bouncing around the big larger dog,
Yeah, and I'm the big fat dog that
I didn't say anything
kicks you
about
out of
that.
my way.
No. But this is take two. Knock on wood, fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly. It is day and date of recording, February 3rd, 2023. Yeah, and we're here. This is going to be a special episode for sure. Well, Mike just broke something. Something fell over.
No, I did not.
Okay. No, it is going to be a cool episode. It's going to be special. The title of the episode is going to be Ghost Children, maybe perhaps / Child Spirits. It's kind of an eerie and sad subject matter for sure, but it totally ties into what we're going to discuss here in our opening segment. It was a pretty moving day for me and you this past Monday. And
it was.
We'll try and get through this as briefly as we can. As longtime listeners know, Mike and I are, we like to consider ourselves very amateur paranormal investigators. But hey, we're scrapping and scraping our way closer to being legit. Maybe we're going from amateur investigators to intermediate investigators. Is that the next step? I guess I'm not sure.
No? It could be. Yeah,
could be maybe intermediate. Well, if we were freshmen before, or during the summer vacation after freshman year, moving on to our sophomore year here.
Yeah,
I mean,
hopefully we don't need remedial training.
That's true. I mean, we're trying to up the ante. Earlier this year, as listeners know, we made the 9-hour trek down to the Sally house. That was an awesome experience. We are planning on it, not even just planning. We are doing it. We are making a trip this spring or summer to the Villisca X Murder House, which I'm excited for. I'm thinking we're going to capture something creepy, Mike. We're going to be creeped out no matter what.
We are. It's definitely going to be a lot different than the Sally house.
Yeah, and Mike is struggling through right now because I think he spilled some sort of liquid.
Well, and I start coughing.
Yeah, then he coughs, and the microphone's turned off because Mike is going into convulsions. But it's all good. He's fine and dandy right now.
No, I spilled my Diet Coke.
Okay, you did spill.
And I spilled it all over my mouse pad Ouija board.
Oh man!
And
well, maybe it'll actually work now. Now that you spilled shit.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
And then I spilled it all over the Ouija board.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, remember I bought that from Heather Taddy.
You did. Oh, that's right. You did.
And then I was like, well, I got to get that wiped off because if it soaks in that pop, it's ruined.
Oh no. Yeah. So Mike
I'd have to go find Heather again. And
well, that wouldn't be bad though. She was a great guest. I love talking to her. That was awesome.
She was a great guest. Yeah.
Mike is just frantically moving as fast as
I'm done now.
I hope you don't get winded or out of breath doing this.
I do that very easily.
Well, that's true. That's true. I apologize for saying that. I know that's a sensitive area for you, but it's all good. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And also on the replay of, we were recording the opening segment for our Patreon page because we were sharing a very important image. And on playback, they didn't work at all. Yeah, for whatever reason, I haven't changed anything on my end, but as I was very kind of angrily, well, not really angry, but as in a frustrated tone, I was talking to Mike about, it's amazing how all of these purported upgrades to better your devices usually, more often than not, make up a night of frustration. It makes up for a day, a week, an evening. Long story short, it just fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Apologize for dropping the F-bomb, but it's frustrating because after upgrading my laptop earlier this week, now my headphones are not compatible. And now apparently my Movavi video editor / screen recorder is not working properly. Audacity was not working properly, but hey, we did the magical... I'm going to unplug it, basically, and plug it back in. Turn it off, turn it back on, and now, knock on wood, it's working. But getting back to the focus, Mike, as an intro to this topic, as longtime listeners know, as I said, we're paranormal investigators and amateur paranormal investigators. 15, 16 years ago, we captured an EVP that is still just, it's inexplicable, unexplainable. You cannot debunk it. It's legit. In our eyes, it is legit. It's how else do we want to describe it, Mike?
To me, there's no question. I mean, we were there. We know what happened. We know what was being said and talked about at the time. And then that voice pops in. I mean,
yeah,
whoever it was, she was there and said it. It's Debbie.
Yes, and why this is important, because earlier this week I was sitting at work and I was really thinking about that EVP, and I was thinking about Debbie, because I've been trying to find more and more information about her. I've been in discussions with my mom about Deborah. Deborah Ann May tragically passed away 50 years ago this year. When she was,
that's crazy,
3 years old, 2 months short of her 4th birthday, and obviously it was a big deal in the small town here. My mom remembers it happening, and
oh yeah,
this is it's connected to the It's Debbie EVP, obviously, because Mike, well, I'll let you explain it, briefly, how this ties in to what we're talking about, what I discovered earlier this week. I mean, what was it all about when you first moved into that house, and what was going on when we were recording?
Well, what was going on, like it did all the time, is the place is definitely haunted. And what we got out of that EVP was, the backstory on it is, we, as a team, Patrick and I and a couple other people, we were investigating in the house. We were going to go down into the basement and check things out and do some recording. And we were doing EVP work and recording on the way down the stairs. And we were
doing that because you had mentioned your like the door.
Yes.
Whoa, hello, doggies. The door, was it the door by your basement entryway, or was it the door to the basement? Which door was it again?
I believe it was the door to the basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how I described it on Patreon. So I was worrying about it. I was like, oh shit, was I wrong? Am I remembering that incorrectly? But that door was always open, and you guys made sure to shut it all the time.
We would be shutting it every day because it would be open, numerous times a day. It would happen. And so we were discussing that as we were walking down the stairs and recording. And when we were trying to figure out why or whatever is doing this, that female voice came up saying, "It's Debbie," like explaining that, it was answering the question as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was like, it was Debbie. It's plain and simple.
Right.
So,
and it's shame on me for so long for when listening to that. For whatever reason, I was thinking of, man, is that Debbie saying that herself? Like she'd be speaking in the third person, hey, it's Debbie, like she's, like she's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The Rock says over here. No.
Yeah, right.
No. And obviously I've changed my mind correctly. I hope that it was some other energy, some other entity in the house pointing it out that, hey, it's Debbie who's doing this. And
right.
It's, kind of, it's also connected to this recently discovered EVP that we shared not that long ago on the podcast that kind of legitimized another potential EVP that we captured during all of these recordings over the course of, a month or so. We were at your house several times and we were doing these investigations. It's, as we talked about on a few episodes ago, we got the feeling that those two particular EVPs, the press play and the one that sounds like it's saying, watch that, after I said, watch that video, they both come across as almost like a mocking kind of, but in a playful manner, kind of, it's just kind of, it's not necessarily being nasty or nefarious.
I don't think anything malicious at all.
And being that this was a separate energy, this wasn't, this is what we think. This is our, take it as you will. This is our thought process here. Being that this was another spirit that was telling us that it's Debbie. I threw this idea to Mike earlier when we were recording the failed segment. I said, is there just a possibility, maybe, that, for argument's sake, let's play devil's advocate, that these spirits in this house were, in fact, kind of nasty, and they were mocking us in a negative manner. Is there any chance that they were saying, knowing the history of that house, that they were kind of leading us astray, saying, hey, it's Debbie, like mocking us even more, downplaying the serious nature of that tragedy? Any chance at all, Mike, that is what's going on those recordings, in your opinion?
I don't feel that. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need to say. Cause I agree.
But it's a thought, though. It's a theory to think about and reject if you go with it that way.
Now, again, long-winded. I apologize for that. Getting back to why this is an important episode, and I will share the image in question here on Patreon. Again, I did share a short 1.5-minute clip. I believe it was a 1.5-minute clip the other day when I was at the library. And as I said, I've just been trying to find as much information about this tragedy as I could, learning about the history a little bit, talking about it with my mom. And I went to the library and I said, hey, could I have access to like the Park Rapids Enterprise archives? And they said, yeah, absolutely. You just you need a specific year, preferably also a specific month. And I was okay. So I went about my way, and I'm sitting there trying to find the specific date. And I thought it was funny because when I was asking you, Mike, like, do you have any memory of the exact year that Debbie passed away? And you you texted me, he's like, yeah, it was either 1972 or 1974. And lo and behold, it was 1973. You went around it. And
well, yeah, because I'm usually not right about a lot of things. So
I'm not suggesting that. Come on,
I
now.
know.
And it's funny when considering how often we've talked about this, Mike. Is that something that we knew 10 years ago, but being that we're old now, that we've just forgotten? You know,
I believe that's true. Yeah. I think, yeah,
because when you moved into that house, you learned of the history, correct?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. This poor girl, as we've talked about several times, she tragically died outside of this house. I'm showing Mike, I printed off that newspaper article from the Park Rapids Enterprise. I did find them. I went and I came back after I found the date online. I went and I asked 1973 October. There they gave me the microfilm roll. Showed me how to run their little do-ditty there, and I went away. And I mean, I love history crap like that anyways, but I could have been there all day, I think, before they forced me out. But I sat down, and as I got closer and closer to the date, I started I felt this sense of anticipation, Mike, but my heart was kind of racing a little bit. I'm like, am I going to find something here? I get to the date of her passing. They published the papers on Thursdays and Mondays back in 1973 here in Park Rapids. And the October 4th publication, obviously this was during the day of her tragic passing. I thought it was kind of coincidental that an article I saw is, Park Rapids Panthers defeat Detroit Lakes, in a football game. And they showed a picture of some of the Panther football players, and one of them was a guy named Jeff May. And I was like, oh my gosh, is that a relative of Debbie, and the family is just feeling good about, the extended relatives, they're all, this, everything is happy right now. Success on the football field, life, in general, before this tragedy. Then I scrolled even further. The next edition, Monday, bam. First image I saw, Mike, is this that I'm showing you right there.
Debbie.
I sent you a picture immediately. There she is. There's the face of this girl. 3 years old, 2 months shy of her 4th birthday. Garage door collapses, falls on Debbie, and kills her. And this is the EVP, Mike, that has meant so much to us for 15 years. And now we got a face.
Yeah. After so many years of actually seeing Debbie, that has meant so much to us since then. I mean, it's really, you really feel it. Yeah. And we've invested a lot of time and thought and energy into this little girl.
And emotion.
And emotion. Exactly. Absolutely. Especially being in that house that she lived in and finding that box up in the attic that had those clothes in, and that the dress that she's wearing in that picture looks so much like one of the dresses in that box. It had blood on the box. It looked like blood, dried blood. Would that have been stuff of hers, and why would there be blood on it? I don't know, but it's part of that whole puzzle of Debbie.
Now, and you said when I sent you that picture, you said that is how you pictured her in your mind.
Absolutely. The shorter brown hair. I mean, you figure she was 4 years old, a couple months short of 4. Her hair was short and brown. Just a beautiful kid. Beautiful girl, that smiling face. And, but yeah, that's how I pictured her, when that dress, could have been one of those dresses in that box. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. And, Mike, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I felt, for a good, I'm probably 2 or 3 hours, I felt off a little bit. I felt kind of weirded out after that. I mean, I don't know if it was kind of the adrenaline going away. I don't know how to describe it, but I could not get her out of my mind. I was trying to go about my normal business, but I felt almost detached. It was really kind of odd.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it, because I was just, it means so much. Longtime listeners know what we're talking about. If you're new to the podcast, thank you so much for checking us out. These EVPs, no joke. And to be able to put that face, this beautiful little face, to this story, that has somehow captured us as well. I mean, why has this happened to us? Mike, as far as
I know.
we have been brought into her life story, and again, we need to move on here. I realize that, but after a while, I started feeling a little bit better because, as I told you, Mike, I felt like Debbie is being remembered, not only just by us,
Right.
by all of our listeners.
Absolutely. There's a lot of positive energy going into, her right now instead of that tragic day. We've put a lot of, positive thinking into it, I think. And I believe.
Mike, I mean, is she still there? Was she still there? Was that Debbie? And why? And is she hopefully, I hate to think of her as being trapped, and not moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, is she there? This is some stuff that we're going to talk about later when we focus on, ghost children in general. We'll dive into these possibilities. The fingerprints on the mirror. You brought this up earlier. It's like, oh my gosh! Again, those pictures are on. You go check them out on the Patreon page.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre.
Way back, they say that mirrors could be a portal where spirits could come and go or whatever. But the prints that I believe are from Debbie are from a little person that age, and you can see the face print and the hand print. Like she was pushing against that mirror. Like, was she trying to go through that portal to be able to leave? Pushing against it, but it's just a lot to think about. I don't know. Well,
I think kids, I know this from personal experience. My daughter back in the day, she was fascinated with mirrors. I have a picture of her, just she loves seeing her face in the mirror and to just make her laugh. She couldn't really say, why am I seeing myself here? And is Debbie still doing that? Is she just kind of playing with the mirror? Sticking her face up as close as she can. And oh man, is she forever 3? I mean, I apologize to our listeners if I sound befuddled and a little out of sort here, but it's been a wacky week after that Monday, and it meant a lot to me. I'm so glad I found it, and I hope that you're glad I found it too, Mike. Just say you are.
Oh, geez, of course, yeah. I really needed to see her. I really did.
Well, we have, and every time that I listen to that It's Debbie DVP, EVP, which I have yet to do. I have yet to listen to that. DVD. It's going to be
CBD, DVD.
It's going to be different now when I hear that EVP, because now I have that face. And
yeah, exactly.
If that's really Debbie who was doing that, I hope she had a smile on her face, and I hope she is still smiling wherever she is.
And I just have this, I just had this very clear vision of my head of her in that dress running through the kitchen.
Oh,
like when she was alive, it's like running through the kitchen, like just being fun, happy, Yeah.
Yeah. As the, not to end this segment on a downer, but as the article starts here, Deborah Ann May services held. Deborah Ann May, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. I won't share their name right now, even though you could see it on the Patreon page.
Yeah.
Died from injuries sustained in an accident near her home October 4th. She was 3 years old.
Near the home was the garage across the alley, right across the alley from the garage that is for the house that she lived in.
And that is no longer there, the garage.
Yeah, just a cement slab, and I could imagine the tragedy of that. Maybe it was too much to have that garage there still. I don't know. That's just a thought.
And, a family friend who was a witness to this tragedy. I mean, it's been so long since I spoke to him, but he still feels it. How can he not?
You would never forget that. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Oh, well, man, Godspeed, God bless to Deborah Ann May. And again, we encourage you guys to go look at her face and just feel it. I don't know how else to describe it because, I think we're trying to do something positive here about this, and we'd love everyone to do the same. Mike.
Absolutely.
Ghost children / child spirits. Kind of creepy, kind of eerie, definitely sad.
Yeah, just the thought of it being a child that lost their life so young and is still gallivanting around.
I did find, and I'll pull it out here in a second. I did find an interesting article, kind of discussing, throwing out hypotheticals about, the potential reasoning behind, paranormal experiences involving the spirits of children. Long-time listeners know I love putting Mike on the spot. I'm going to do it again. So be prepared. Are you prepped, Mike? Are you ready?
We'll find out.
When you think of ghost children, are they all, we just talked about a little bit with Debbie, are they all? None? Some? Are they forever a child? Are they, for lack of a better term, trapped? Is there hope for them? Just kind of your gut feelings when it comes to the thought of the spirit of a child still lingering in this realm.
I don't know. I'd like to think that it is not forever a child, but I think they can be. I think they can come to a person as different ages because, and the reason I say that is, and I've told this story before on the air, but within the last month or so or 2 months or whatever that my father was alive, he had said that he saw his mom and dad. They'd come to him, but not as old when they passed away, but as younger, like when they were a young couple in their 30s. So they showed up at that younger age, when actually they passed away at a very old age.
Right.
So, can that be, go either way?
Yeah, it's like,
is it that they are a child or just the appearance of a child and it's all the knowledge and energy that a spirit would have?
Is it the purity, the purity of being a child? Maybe is that what is coming through? Again, we're limited by our physical understanding. As wonderful as the brain is, we're limited to what the hell's going on the other side. We're spiritual beings living a human existence right now, so we can't escape that
the human part.
The human part. We can't. We're talking about being trapped. It's like we can't. It's difficult, definitely difficult, if not impossible, to truly grasp. This isn't us. And a child. When we say child spirits, maybe it isn't necessarily a child. It's just that pure energy of it hasn't been tainted by anything. It's we're.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you, from the listeners too. What do you think? Is it purely negative? Is it purely positive? Is it a combination? It's because I don't like the idea of a young kid being trapped. Especially Debbie, for example. I don't like thinking that she suffered this horrible death and she's forever trapped in this existence. It doesn't sound right to me. And I think that you probably agree with that too, Mike.
Absolutely.
Food for thought, definitely. But this article that I'm going to use is kind of help us spark some talk about food for thought. Help us ramble on as good as we can. Mike's convulsing again. You all right? You okay? Okay.
I am.
Okay. He gives me the thumbs up.
Thank God for a mute button.
Thank God. This is from paranormaldares.com. And the article is, Are Child Spirits More Active Than Adult Spirits? So I'll peruse through these, Mike, and we'll stop and pause and we'll talk. And we'll get your thoughts for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw in some of my worthless nuggets every now and then. Nuggets? Did I say nuggets?
You did.
Okay. That sounds kind of gross, actually, when you think about it. Start throwing nuggets around.
As long as they aren't moist nuggets, that's okay.
Come on now. Golly gee willikers. I just said golly gee willikers, by the way.
Yes, you did.
Wow. I don't know how to say or how to react to that one. That was pretty impressive on my part. Now, this is a paranormal investigation team here, and this is their website. They have experience dealing with alleged child spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And they start off here. They say that they're often asked about the different types of spirits that they encounter during their investigations. And they say that there are definitely distinct types of spirits who present themselves in a similar manner. All individual spirits are different from one another, just like we are here in this physical world. I mean, you and I have talked about that too. You know, it's definitely a possibility. If you're a jerk here, you're going to be a jerk in the afterlife. You know,
Absolutely.
spirits have personalities and characteristics that make them unique, plain and simple. They go on to say, often we don't know why spirits seek out communication, but child spirits are a different case. Now, in their opinion, spirits of children are often the most communicative and active. Now, let's think about that for a second. That would make sense in the case of Debbie. I mean, if she's sitting there running around, you know, opening up
Sure.
her door constantly, leaving
right.
her fingerprints and her face print on the mirror, I mean, sounds to me like she's trying to get someone's attention.
She could have been some of the orbs of light that would fly around and down my arm and things like that.
Oh God, yeah. You know, maybe she's she's thinking that she's touching you, trying to touch you, and you see it as like an orb.
Yeah.
Definite possibility.
Mm.
Are you sure you're okay, Mike? You keep coughing like violently.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm good.
Do you need to go get another Diet Coke and spill it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, spill it all over my stuff. No, I'm good.
Now, when interacting with these child spirits, they point out a few things that other investigators should keep in mind for your safety and for also what is best for the spirit. When I was reading this earlier, one thing that popped out to me personally made so much sense because it was like, you know, basically saying, you know, you have to remember who you're dealing with. You know, if these are children, you have to be conscious of how you are speaking, how
Right.
you are acting. And it brought back memories, Mike, again, to your house when myself and my then friend were down in the your basement. You and your then friend were up in the attic or something. We were both doing our separate EVP sessions. We were down there in silence, and I was listening to this not that long ago. I just don't like how I sound anyways, but man, sometimes I sounded just downright ornery, and I know I wasn't attempting to do it. I know I wasn't doing it on purpose, but it was even pointed out by my friend. She goes, after I asked something, she goes, you know, Patrick, you have to think that you're talking to a little kid right now. And I'm like, oh, or, you know, if we were...
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And
I remember that. Yeah.
because again, this is, I don't know if that particular recording was before or after we discovered the It's Debbie EVP. But again, Mike was wise to the story, to the history of the house and all these experiences that you were going through you were like thinking that perhaps Debbie was in your house.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I knew the house was haunted before I heard any story of what happened or who lived there. It's like, and then I'd hear things and from people that knew the story, and it'd be like, well, that makes total sense.
Did stuff start happening to you like right when you guys moved in?
I don't think it was right away, but it sure didn't take long.
Didn't take long. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there were some months that were more active than others, but yeah, it was like, it was always there.
And so again, listening to that recording, I was like, how darn it, man, it's like, take a chill pill, Kaufenberg. It's like, my God. Because I think I was at one point, I said, this is your last chance.
Yeah.
Like, my gosh, I was pulling out my inner Zach Bagans there, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
At least I didn't ask him to, like, you wanted us, you got us.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach Bagans, still a dream guest. We love the guy. but we can tease them too. So now their first question that they are sharing here, and they give an answer to, is, how do I know if I am interacting with a child spirit? Now, they say you can usually recognize a child's spirit by their energy and playfulness. Now, again, Debbie has a perfect example. Opening up those doors, being a little mischievous, letting you know that she's around. Now, despite being highly communicative, it often takes time to build trust with these child spirits, just like it would with a living child. Just like, it would be with a living child in the physical world, right? I mean, they're leery. They want to love you, but they're like, I don't know about that guy.
Which is the way they should be if they don't know the person.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, man. Now, it's, as I said, much like children in the physical world, they can be shy, afraid, or unsure of who to trust. Once you have established trust with a child spirit, most are very playful and talkative. These spirits don't connect with just anyone. They will want to establish a trusting relationship first. Again, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to us when we're talking about even real life experiences with young kids, but it doesn't change in the spiritual world. And that's interesting that they suggest that they don't connect with just anyone. Now, Mike, I mean, everyone, listeners know that you're just the big lovable guy that you are. You got such a good energy about you and stuff, even when you are down in the dumps and utterly depressed. I'm kidding. I couldn't even finish saying depressed because I'm teasing. I'm teasing, Mike. I bet you $100 Debbie felt super comfortable with you, and she was trying to get your attention from
I would hope so. That would be great if that was the case. But when you're reading this about young children and spirits of young children, and they're playful, and there are times when that happens, and you might have a month or two of this playful child, and then you start to realize that I don't think it's a child.
Oh my God. Are you saying that it's like a something is mimicking a child?
Right. Well, like how demons will do that type of thing.
Okay, that's terrifying. Yeah.
Come across as a child. But I mean, I know this was Debbie and everything, but but just when you were reading that, it was like, yeah, but they say that demons will do that.
I don't like that. I do not like it. And you're the one, Mike's saying this, by the way, with a little smirk on his face, because
I am.
He knows how I feel about the whole demon thing. And Mike is kind of slowly coming around to the potential, potential reality of demonic spirits. But I can still say you're definitely leery. You're still not too sure about the demonic stuff, are you?
Right. Yep.
But
hey, I'm gonna stay open-minded and just see what happens. Take it as it comes.
I don't like that idea, though. Again, what if those dang mocking playful EVPs we picked up
Sure.
What the hell, what if those are goddamn demonic shit messing with us?
What if it's just one demon that's portraying every one of them? The old man that was seen in the house, or the coughing, or the singing, or the whispering in my ear. It was just one demon. There's no ghost there. It's just one demon.
I don't like it. And Mike even had put extra emphasis on that. It's just one demon.
One demon.
No. It's let's stick with the positive on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to throw out the possibilities, though. We have to throw out that as a possibility.
Right. Even though we believe pretty much completely that it's all a positive experience there that we had, so the demon thing was just kind of me throwing that out at you.
This is something that just literally popped into my head, Mike, and talk about off the cuff and putting you on the spot. Do you think that if there is such a thing as reincarnation, do you think that for whatever reason, perhaps those who die young as a young child are potentially more apt to be reincarnated, or vice versa? What's your vibe on that? I don't
think it
puts you on the spot. I know.
I don't think it matters. I mean, because we all, no matter how many times that if we've come back, we always are going to come back as to learn more things that we're meant to learn here.
And we've talked about,
until you reach that, level that you don't have to come back.
We're trying.
Anyway.
We've talked about that several times.
Yeah.
Is this a learning process? Are we, working towards, enlightenment? The potential of spiritual perfection. It's just the idea of this. Like Debbie again. She only had 3, just short of 4 years in this physical existence. I mean, how much could she have learned? Or
right.
Oh man, or was she already such at an enlightened stage that she didn't need more than 3?
Maybe
4
the
years?
experience that she had to come back as this time was just, to experience that. Maybe just to experience that death to learn from. That's a horrible thing to think of.
Yeah, but that's a great idea. That's a great point.
Could it go that extreme, or was it? Did she come back? To spend almost 4 years with, experiencing certain things as a young child along that way, that add to what she learns as a spirit.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, I'm shooting out in different directions.
But it's
here,
great. That's a great thought. That could almost be another podcast topic all in itself. There, learning from death. Death 101.
Yeah.
Oh man, how would you fail death? I don't know. Oh God, I just asked how would you fail death. I just cursed myself somehow, probably.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, what can one expect from a child spirit? Obviously it says here, the more mischievous the child spirit, the more they will play or be playful. They might move objects, the door opening and shutting all the time. They might play games, such as hide and seek. Or they might make sounds. And again, that goes back to those recordings, Mike. Multiple occasions, you hear not voices, but at one point, clear as day, like a little whistle or kind of like a beckoning, like hello, I'm over here type thing. I don't know how to say. I don't want to say a moan, but it was a very high pitched, like playful, like ooh, hey, come over here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean that kind of falls in line with this.
Maybe those throat and stomach noises that were coming from me on some of those recordings weren't actually stomach and throat noises.
Oh, I wish I had that on the soundboard right now. God darn it. Oh, Mike, you need to warn me about that. I would have found it. I still can. Yeah. Oh, I just want to play this, by the way. If you guys know what this is from, we want to be your friend.
Dude, run!
Yeah. So I just wanted to play that one.
What was that? I missed it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear it very well.
Okay, listen, as I said, if you know what this is from, we want to be your friend.
Dude, run!
There you go. So maybe Mike can't hear the audio stuff now because everything sucks, but that's okay.
Well, I can hear it. It's just that it was garbled for me.
That was Brian Hanoi. Dude, run!
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get that out of it at all.
Oh man, Igor, is this a good episode?
No.
Okay.
Dude run might come out of us at the axe murder house. I don't know.
There you go. Oh man.
Didn't we already talk about if we have to, we might have to just end up spending the rest of the night in the car or something?
Yes, we did kind of talk about that a little bit, but we shall see. We shall see. Now, when a child spirit does present themselves, they will often present themselves as polished as possible. Now, I remember reading this earlier thinking that's kind of interesting because what they mean by polish is they said they want to look presentable, which is often why you might see child spirits in their Sunday best with a neat appearance. Now, didn't that very, very first ghost, Mike, that you saw as a kid, wasn't she kind of dressed to the nines as well?
She was actually in a very old-fashioned, long,
Okay.
floor-length nightgown type thing with the ruffles around the sleeves and the collar.
That's right. My bad on
Yep.
that one. I hate saying
Yep.
my bad. I hate that. Why did I just say that? I need to edit
You
that out.
say that a lot.
Do I? Do I say my bad?
Yeah.
And I can't stand
Yeah.
it.
All the time.
No, I don't.
See, you just said it again. Sorry.
Talk about mocking tones.
Yeah.
But that's interesting though. Like oftentimes according to this investigation investigative group, they're theorizing that they want to look presentable. So that's why they kind of look like they're dressed to the nines.
These are a lot of things I have never heard before. Like,
That's interesting though. I like it.
it is interesting. Yeah.
Now, depending on what the child perceives as presentable, they might be in a special outfit or costume. Some people find this unsettling, but according to many interpretations of interacting with child spirits from paranormal experts, the children want to look their best to make a good impression in hopes of getting help. That's a theory. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it is.
All this makes sense,
Sure.
But it could be one of 1 million theories, Mike and you and I could think of a theory too, anyone can think of theories.
Absolutely.
That's why they're theoretical. Now, what do they think? What do they think children want? Children's spirits, that is. Unfortunately, many child spirits are lost or confused. Mike, you get a vibe that Debbie was lost and confused. See, that's important to me, and I know it's important to you too, because I don't want her to be lost or confused.
I don't feel it. I feel like she's at home.
I just saw a giant orb fly behind your head too, man.
A what?
I saw an orb fly right behind your head.
Up here?
Yeah. Yep. That was pretty interesting. I wish I was recording, but no, of course I wasn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you don't get that vibe.
I don't. I really don't. There might be some, I think some low level confusion maybe. I don't know. This is just me off the top of my head, like feeling something and, not saying it's right or anything, but she's there. She's at home. Confusion about why things might be a lot different than the way they used to be when she was alive. I just don't see that she's feeling lost. And
do you think and again, we're just using Debbie as an example for everything here. If Debbie was confused at all, would she is there potential that she was confused because she didn't know why everyone was so sad now?
Yeah, that could be one of the things that, is when she was killed and she's in spirit form, she's probably at first catching up on things that were the way things are after she died and knowing that there's such a difference going.
Oop, Mike froze
also over the years and decades to when I lived there.
Yeah.
Things are different and things change and, maybe she can't figure that out, but
it's interesting that I threw that to you and you answered in that manner, because that's exactly kind of what they're talking about here. Going on with the article, especially if the death was caused by a traumatic event, the child might not know they are deceased and therefore don't know what is going on or what they need to do next. I mean,
right.
Again, that's sad to me. It's very negative, but it's a definite possibility.
But I've always felt too that I don't think that she's there all the time.
Right.
She can come and go, so she's not like she's trapped. And she has the knowledge of that she can go to different places. So, that's would be a better existence for her. Are spirits / energies? Are they in the same? How do I say? Are they in the same form? From dimension to dimension, you're like, is Debbie a 3-year-old in air quotes our dimension? But when she slips through, that mirrored portal, is she an adult? Form of energy, yeah, form of energy that can be, I think, manifest as whatever, as pure energy. I mean, maybe it could be limitless what
Yeah.
that pure energy can do.
They could, talk about past lives. Maybe from...
Well, right. It never ends. It's continuous. So there's got to be something there, that's, a purpose for it.
Man. Yeah. That's... Wow. That's kind of a mind trip right there. What do you guys think about that one? That's not exactly it's not an easy thing to think about it at all, but give us your thoughts on that. My God. Another reason a child's spirit could be bound to the physical world is their connection to family or loved ones. I kind of said that, like maybe being confused as to why they're, everyone's sad. When there is an overwhelming grief due to their passing, spirits often stay close to watch over them and try to connect with them. Okay,
sure.
We just
let them know she's okay.
Talked about that. When the living can't get past a death, neither can the spirits. Now that's interesting.
Right.
So when that's more reason to, not callously move on, but yes, you grieve, and then you accept, and then that helps the spirit transition too. That's a theory according to these guys.
I believe that very well too. Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay, so you I just said do.
I do.
You do believe in that theory that the human,
right,
our grieving, when that comes to end and when we accept it, that helps them pass, or that helps them transition.
I totally believe that.
That does make sense because they wouldn't want to transition knowing that you are grieving still. You know?
Yeah.
That makes sense. In some cases, these child spirits stay bound to the grief even when their loved ones pass and move on. Now, that would be sad. Like if you never get over it and you die, well, then your loved one may never transition either.
Yeah. I don't know.
Other children's spirits are simply afraid to move on. If their death was accidental, where the child was doing something they shouldn't be doing, perhaps they carry guilt and worry that they will get in trouble. These spirits aren't prepared to move on because they are afraid of what will happen next. Much like a child in the physical world might try to hide a mess or deny doing something wrong for fear of getting trouble.
Right.
Now, we don't know what was happening in the case of Debbie. It was just a tragic, horrible accident. That's all we know.
Well, what we do know, and we've talked about this maybe briefly at different times, but the garage door was broken and it was being held up by a water ski.
Yes, we have talked about that. Yes.
Yep. And so whatever happened to her, I don't know if was she messing around with that? Did she bump into it? Did were the little boy and the little girl kind of joking around and physical kind of laughing, kind of pushy, whatever, and there's there's things that I have in my mind right now that could have happened that I don't even want to mention.
Oh, I know, Mike. I was doing that the other day. I not out of not being morbid or totally negative and depressing, but I couldn't help but not envision what may have happened to Debbie. It was popping in my brain. I don't want to talk about it on the air right now what I was seeing because it's not good.
Right. We're the little boy and her, joking around, and did he have possibly a little part in what happened?
Oh man.
And if that's the case, keeping that in as a little kid, if that did happen, how devastating that would be. And we know that he's still devastated. But these are all just conjecture and everything. So we don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that anything like that did happen because, like I said, we don't know. It's just trying to figure things out.
Yeah, we certainly hope that that's not the case,
No.
But again, that's another, to us, to our minds, our human minds, it makes some sense as a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, what do investigators and people interacting with child spirits need to be careful of? Now, they had a blog earlier that they were writing about, and I'm going to skip that part, but it says here, it is human nature to be more sensitive and nurturing with children, unlike me, apparently, when This is your last chance, spirit. My God.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of myself. Much like seeing a child lost in the supermarket or wandering around on their own, it is our natural instinct to reach out and help the child. The danger comes from spirits and negative energy knowing that weakness we have as humans. Some malicious spirits will present themselves as children to gain trust. It is critical to be careful and not let your guard down too much with any spirit, specifically a child spirit you think might be an imposter. We were talking about demonic mimicking earlier.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, to be clear, we don't think that's what's going on or what was going on in Mike's house. We don't think that someone was mimicking Debbie or mocking the tragedy of what happened to Debbie. We're making that very clear. We don't think that, but do we know for sure? No, we don't. Let's see. We got Mike, you're shaking like a leaf on a tree. Do you need a break for like 5 minutes or? All right, hold on, everybody. Mike needs to do something. Mike, or listeners, Igor, should I tell the listeners what Mike is doing?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Okay, this will be seamless. We're going to take a time traveling excursion. And we're back from yet another seamless time traveling excursion. Okay, that article wrapped up with the question, how common are child spirits? And it goes on to say, well, we think that people interact or have interactions with child spirits more often than they realize. And it goes on to, as one example, it goes on to mention imaginary friends. And I remember we did an episode focused solely on imaginary friends and that topic itself. I love that idea. I love that possibility. I mean, how about you, Mike?
I had an imaginary friend when I was, I remember very well. I was probably 4 years old.
What did he look like? Was it a he?
Yep. And it is weird because imaginary, but had short blonde hair, but the hair was actually darker blonde than mine. It was that detailed. And I even actually think he was a little older than I was. Oh, is that an imaginary friend or is that too much detail going on there?
I remember you talking about this, and it is kind of creepy. I'm not going to lie.
And, and his name was Tom. I remember that. And I quit talking about him. And I remember my mom and dad asked me, well, whatever happened to Tom? And I said that he died.
Oh, my God.
And that was it. I never had any interaction with Tom ever again. But it's weird though, because it's not like I had an imaginary friend that I was sitting there talking to and playing with or anything. I don't know what it was. He was just there. He was just a part of. Yeah.
Mm.
So there's a lot to think about there. I mean, that's odd.
That's a little. Talk about some more cosmic heebie-cheebies going on there. It's like,
yeah. Well, and the weirdest thing is that, I would call him Tom, but then he would tell me, no, my name is actually Beelzebub. Okay, now you're exaggerating a little bit. Come on now. Yeah, even I didn't fall for that one, Mike. Sometimes your poker face. Sometimes, okay, for listeners who don't realize, Mike has one of the best GD flipping poker faces and poker voices out there. I've fallen for a lot of his crap before. Yeah. But that time, even I could see it, Mike. It was. Yeah. It was. It might have. I wasn't really trying to pull anything over on you. So no, and it wasn't like an egregious example either. It was pretty. It was innocent. It was innocuous. It's all good. I forgive you, Mike. But yeah, that idea of an imaginary friend actually being, that's not imaginary at all, because it's theorized that children are more. Here's that term again, apt to experience the paranormal, because of that purity, I think, right? I think it's more than theory. I mean, people say that, it's before they get tainted by the adults saying that, oh, no, that's not real. Yeah. Well, when you're a child, you're not told that. So when you experience something, it's real to you. If you see a ghost or whatever, I mean, you know what I mean? It's of course I do. Of course I do. But when you have enough people telling you that are older and trying to condition you for life and telling you that stuff isn't real. You get told that enough and, kind of changes your mind, brainwash a little bit, maybe.
And it's a good point too. There's nothing worse than being like excited about something or feeling good about something, and putting it out there only to have someone just put you down for it, basically, or tell you that you're wrong. No, that's
right.
You didn't. You didn't experience that. No, you didn't do that. As an artist, so I like to think of myself as an artist. Mike, you are an artist as well. Nothing worse than like spending, a good amount of time on a piece of artwork. And I have this. I went through this so often back in the day when I was younger, and I would show somebody, and more often, well, I shouldn't say more often than not. Mostly, I'd get positive reinforcement, thankfully. But there'd always be those 2 or 3 jerks who their first reaction would be like, "You didn't draw that. You traced that. Where's the picture you traced that from?"
Oh yeah,
it's heartbreaking almost. It's
I know. I agree.
It's very discouraging, and it's like, well, fine, I won't ever draw again, and then I go pout.
Yeah,
I still do that. I go pout in the corner every now and then. It's kind of funny. And then Bridget has to drag me out. She entices me with like a Coors Light or something. I don't know what she does.
Yeah. Well, if I start that, Mary she has a special stick.
Oh my God. Does it have notches on it too? I mean, what type of stick are we talking here? Oh my God. Hey, Mike, this has been a great discussion. Before we wrap it up, final thoughts though on the idea of ghost children. I think that's what I'm going to title this episode, Ghost Children, because, I mean, how else can you describe it? That's plain and simple.
All right, yeah, it fits.
Is it more of a negative than a positive in your mind, the idea of a child spirit, considering everything that we just talked about? I mean, spirits are ageless. We get that.
Right.
Because we can't help but think of them as their physical existence.
But there are the trace memories and the thoughts of that child still in that, spirit form that makes it kind of heartbreaking. They're still a child.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the Debbie story is always going to be tragic. It's always going to be heartbreaking. Right. No matter how much we try and think about, we hope to God that wherever she is, it's something positive is going on, But again, that negative heartbreaking aspect is a human emotion. It's a human reaction to it. Are we restricted? Can we not fully comprehend where she is right now?
Yeah, right.
Mike, this has been great. We want to encourage everyone, we always do, to send us your feedback, send us your personal experiences. We're going to have more ghost stories episodes coming up. We got another, Mike, the 24th this month, we're going to be chatting with your niece. She sent me an email, a very succinct, to the point email about her list of experiences. Oh my God. I told her we're going to have like 4 separate episodes with her.
She's related to me, so.
Man, some of those things sound just trippy as hell. So, Rachel, we're looking forward to talking to you. I know you're listening sometime in the future right now. I will work on my pronunciation of everything beforehand so I don't drive your niece nuts. Hopefully she won't have to correct me in butchering Sam Hain.
Well, I would like to see her do that too, because you do that to me all the damn time.
Not all the time, just quite often.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I do not. Well, Mike, it's only when you use such brilliant terms such as botan and shit like that. So come on.
Hey, I am going to keep using the word botan because it's in the damn dictionary.
Well, the damn dictionary is wrong. The damn dictionary should be burned.
It goes against Patrick's knowledge.
Just like Brontosaurus goes against my knowledge, too.
Hey. I bet there's a picture of a brontosaurus in the dictionary, too.
I know. Yeah.
That right underneath it says brontosaurus.
And then you look up the word skeptic, and it's my picture right next to it. When it comes to, I'm kidding. I'm not a damn.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical about some things, just as Mike is, just as we all should be.
Everybody should be, yeah. If you have no skepticism whatsoever, it's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Mike, did you happen to watch that Hunting Bigfoot movie yet?
I did not, but it is on my mind.
Yeah.
I do have Amazon Prime.
I suggest it, man. I suggest it to our listeners too. If you're interested in the Sasquatch, Bigfoot phenomena, this is a really interesting documentary. A different take on it for sure. It kind of follows one man in particular who is, as one of the guest speakers in the movie describes him. He says he's fallen under the spell of kind of like the people who fell under the gold fever spell, the gold rush back in the day.
It's a huge obsession.
It's become an obsession, and it's kind of tough, but it's really, really good. I think it's really well done. I think you'd enjoy it, Mike. So I'd like you to, whenever you have time, check it out, man.
So is it a movie about the little French guy from Harry and the Hendersons?
No, it is not about the little French guy from Harry and the Hendersons. No, it's not about John Lithgow either. It's not about Don Amici. It's not about anybody in Harry and the Hendersons. As much as you want it to be, it's not how you want it to be. So,
right.
Whatever.
Very well put. Very succinct.
Shut up. Anyways, hey, it's been a frustrating day building up to here. Well, the first attempt at this was frustrating as hell, I should say.
Hey, and that was a great segment, and we lost it.
We did, but I think take two was pretty good too. So
absolutely.
But we will post that picture. I mean, again, I have that short video clip of me at the library immediately after I found the article about Deborah Ann May's funeral service, and you can see it in my face. I was kind of like, "Ooh, this is special," but it's also kind of odd and eerie. And I will just post the picture itself that I printed out of the newspaper article. And again, go look at her face, think about the It's Debbie EVP, and just send positive vibes. Do what you want, but man, it's important to us, and we'd love for you guys to check it out.
Yeah, I'd love to have the listeners let us know if are we thinking about it too much, or are we obsessed with this?
Yeah, talk about obsession.
Why? Why is it such a big deal for us? I mean, I can think of enough reasons, but we have very smart listeners, and I think they could give us some insight. So let us know.
Love to hear from you. And again, send us your own personal paranormal stories, or anything alien related, Bigfoot related. You want to be on the show? Contact us. You can reach out to us on all social media. Send us an email, paranormallzone@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from all you guys. That is no joke. We have a couple guests lined up, and we have another future guest, Miss Heather Woodward, a medium psychic author of Eerie, Oklahoma. We're setting up that date, Mike. That's going to be pretty darn cool, speaking with Heather. Looking forward to it for sure.
Very interesting.
Mike, thanks again, buddy. I appreciate it. Or as I called you earlier, pal. I won't ever call you that. I won't ever call you that again.
All right, chum.
All right, buddy, old pal of mine. And to all of our listeners, I did remember it this time.
Until we meet again.
Peace out.